Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Benjamin Kalu, has expressed his commitment to collaborating with ministries, departments and agencies, as well as other education stakeholders to develop a legislative framework for transnational education. And according to a statement from his office on Wednesday, the initiative aims to ensure sustainable growth in the education sector. The statement said that the focus is on establishing the International Education Commission to promote educational excellence and international collaboration. He asserted that education could be an export item for Nigeria, similar to other destinations Nigerians have been traveling to study. Nigerians spend $38.17 million on foreign education. That's between January and March. 3 months. This is how much that left this country to the shores, that left the shores of this country to other countries. According to data from the Central Bank of Nigeria's first quarter 2024 statistical bulletin, this is not just any data. Now, even though it crashed, imagine, by 83% from 218. So the previous amounts that I mentioned was actually a crash from this amount as at last year. That's $218.87 million that was recorded in the same period of last year. Now, he stated that the upcoming consultation process will pave the way for the establishment of an international education commission in Nigeria. And this initiative aims to transform regional education, develop market strategies, and ensure the safety of Nigerians studying abroad. How do you see this policy?
It's a good one, but I also have my reservations. When I saw that story, what came to my mind was the marketing aspect of it. Let it not be a policy that will end up increasing the burden of Nigerians that are already studying abroad. Now, if the policy will be followed and framed the way it has, the proposal is sounding, then it will be a good one. The major item or phrase I saw that caught my interest was export item. Now, of course, Nigerians' education can be, seen or used as an export item. That's if our government will be ready to manage it very well. Otherwise, I see it causing another problem, a situation whereby the amount that is being mentioned here will be like ×2.
How do you mean? I'm trying to connect that now with this.
Yeah. For instance, currently in Nigeria, if I want to travel abroad to study,
okay,
I have a kind of direct connection, with the school. Once I'm able to do that, the next thing I need to do is to go to the embassy, go to the, of course, the embassy, and then do the necessary documentation there, and I'm good to go. Once the country, the institution abroad satisfied that I've done the needful, I will be invited, I will go. But with the idea of setting this kind of educational commission, International Education Commission here in Nigeria, I believe there shouldn't be so much, bureaucratic bottleneck that will affect this flow of Nigerians that wants to travel abroad. The issue of spending, the high cost that has been injected on education abroad is quite alarming. That's quite alarming, and the reason we all know. We wouldn't start blaming those of us that are traveling abroad. Even the politicians, virtually all their children, schools abroad. So if you critically examine the percentage of that particular fund that is coming from the political class, you discover that it should be like 70 to 80%, of course. So now the let's say 20% or 30% that is coming from an average Nigerian.
That's an assertion now.
Yeah, that's an assertion.
Okay.
Yeah, that's an assertion. But I believe it's not also far from reality. Yes, now, based on our experience and what we have gathered in time past and what happens within our locality. So let it not be that the little percentage that is helping the poor masses, those that have advantage, or desire to school abroad, let it not be that at the end of this day, this policy will now increase their burden to studying abroad. That's the only issue I have.
That's that it might increase the amount that they get to pay?
Definitely, because once a commission is set here in Nigeria to oversee that, from my understanding, it simply implies that before I travel, I will do a whole lot of things within the commission, and there will be some level of negotiation. That issue of commission being set up is like when a footballer is being signed, is being bought from a particular club outside the country. There is something that you should do. You have a coach, you have somebody that is sponsoring you, right? And then the person buying you will have to pay some form of a certain amount of money before you now move. So that is the area I am looking at. That's my only problem with that particular initiative. Let that concept not be introduced, because I know our country, whatever our government does, most of their policies is, teach towards revenue generation, how to increase.
They actually said it's to curb the Japa syndrome. So do you actually, I think you just sat down now and you just explained how exactly it's going to curb the Japa syndrome.
Well, I have explained to an extent, but I don't want to really be moved by what is being documented now. I am seeing beyond the letters based on our experience here in the country. Well, for now, I want to let me rest my case, and then let's watch out and see how it plays out.
What do you think would be the benefits of this policy?
The benefit of this policy is that if properly handled, it's going to improve our economy, especially our educational sector here. Imagine that amount of money being injected, or even half of it being injected into our educational system here in Nigeria. It will improve the educational system. It will improve.
But did they say that people will not be able to travel out again? No. And the money will be imputed in our educational system?
No, they didn't say that. So, but my understanding of the export item, that's business. Once it comes to export item.
So who is the export item?
We have
the individuals who want to study out?
Yes, both those that want to study and those that are going for lecturing. We have some Nigerians that are also lecturing abroad. We have some Nigerians that goes abroad to do their research and all of that. You understand? So that's the area I am looking at, that the policy or the initiative shouldn't now begin to introduce some form of bottleneck that will affect the
I'm trying to see how this will benefit our educational system, like you stated earlier.
For me, it's just the aspect of the monetary aspect.
Okay.
Yes, the huge amount that is being invested outside the nation. That's the only benefit I see coming, because from our educational standard here, even if we say that most of our educational systems, that our educational system here in Nigeria is far, far better than those of abroad, where some of our people go to school. Yeah, we say that, but if you also interview some of our people that are abroad, they will tell you it's far, far different from what it used to be in Nigeria. You understand? So I wouldn't want to subscribe to the fact that our people will learn more. If they are here, they will enjoy better facility. The only advantage I see is the money that the country will be, the money that will be left here.
Money that will be accrued here.
Yes, that's the only benefit I see.
But one would want to ask, if we really want to advance or better our educational system, there are lots of steps that should be taken.
Sure.
I mean, we've been having talks, the federal government has been having talks with ASU for over a long time now.
Over 3 decades.
And now we heard that they were going to have a meeting, So I've been following up that story to find out what's going to come out of it. But each time I check, I realize that
nothing new is coming forth.
Aside that, they're still saying we're still having talks. Like, federal government still having talks. Like, what else is left to talk about? Because there was already an agreement that was made.
Exactly.
So are we still sitting down over and over and over to deliberate
that's what has been going on
an agreement that was made? What about listing out, since the ASO has already listed out the things that are needed to make the educational system better? What about actually taking actionable steps? Well, but at the end of the day, we cannot really sit down and say the federal government has not taken any step towards making our educational system better.
Yeah, they have been taking steps, but the steps taken are not good enough. They are not significant enough considering what is required in the educational sector. That's just the challenge. Once you're doing something and the thing you're doing is not prominent, is not visible enough, in spite of what you have put in, the masses will always agitate for more. They will always tell you, we can't see anything. But once you're making effort and your effort is pronounced, your effort is conspicuous, people can say this is what has been done in this area. Believe me, the level of agitation will drop. But in this case, before I gained admission and finished my studies till date, I've been hearing of the issue of adequate facility, which are not even sophisticated facility. This adequate facility ranges from toilet, good toilets, desk for learning. What is it called? Interactive marker board. How many institutions, where will you see interactive board? You notice that some of the classes, they don't even have adequate board, marker board. And you ask yourself, when are we going to leave this stage and get to the next level and meet the international community and compete favorably with the international community? So that is the point. In spite of the marks that the government has been making on education, if some of these preliminary fundamental educational requirements cannot be met, I wonder how we can now say that they are making an impact.
Talking about fundamental educational requirements, when we talk about the things that are not right with the educational system, we always want to point at, of course, the government has a role to play. I mean, they owe the citizens good education, quality education. So those equipment should be available. We should know what's going on around the world just by attending our universities here. But let's also look at some really basic things. If you bring the students to the studio to talk about the issues with the educational system, you hear them talking about things that are very minor. What I mean is the lecturers also have their role to play. You be in school and you have to pray, like you have to fast and pray before your result is out, that you will not have a missing script. Like it's a prayer point. You have to fast and pray. I'm telling you, that was my experience. Like I had to be fasting and praying before my results will come out, so I don't have a missing script. This is not even you saying so you don't fail. Do you understand? So there are very little things that should be handled. And when cases like having a missing script happens, what happens? Do the students even know what to do?
That's another
And
point.
when they do something, when they probably write, because I remember then I really had little or no knowledge about what to do. But then I was told to write and all of that, and I did. And the lecturer took it, like he took it upon himself to fight a student.
Wow.
So these little things that happen in our universities, even though the federal government of course has a role to play, what about the lecturers? Why do we talk less about what the lecturers should actually do?
I think that boils down to what I'm about to also review here. You see, the student has a role to play in order to prompt the lecturers to doing what is required of them. Because the students are the direct beneficiary, right? Now, if as a student, I am not getting exactly what I should be getting from a lecturer, and I know that I'm paying my fees, and the school system has programmed the system in such a way that the lecturer has to teach me, and it is my own obligation or duty to do what? To sit down and learn. And then a particular lecturer is not doing the needful. I, as a student, I have a role to play to wake up the lecturer. But the problem is most of our students are not also very proactive. Most of them are so timid, so I don't know how to put it. They shy away from responsibilities. Just like what you said, is like we share similar experience when it comes to this issue of missing script. I was once a victim. I used to be scared of. The way you said it for me. I used to be scared of mathematics very well.
Okay.
Right from my secondary school days. And then when I got to higher institution, I never knew that I will be facing mathematics.
With agriculture?
Yes, from year 1, we did a general course called calculus. Wonderful. I have not been able to do normal mathematics, and you're not taking me to advanced mathematics, calculus, where you have further maths and all of that. And we sat for that exam, and somehow I failed the course. I needed no prophet to tell me that I failed, even before the result came out. I knew. So when the result came out, I saw F. I wasn't bothered. I prepared to rewrite that course for like 3 years. I had carryover on that course. My colleagues were writing, I said, no, I know my problem. I will use 3 years to prepare because I don't want to come back to rewrite that course again. So I used 3 years. Meeting engineering students, they were teaching me, and I mastered calculus. Then I went back for the exams. I sat for the exams, finished writing, I graded myself. I knew that my grade was going to be A or B.
Wow.
I was so confident of myself. You know how it happens now? Even some students around, they knew, some of my classmates, or the student, of course, some of my classmates that also waited for me that they will write the course when Love Day will be right, because they knew I was preparing. So when we came out from the exam, they said, Love Day, all our practices, thank God we...
Don't tell me that script was missing.
That is where that was where I'm heading to. Finally, when the result came out, I saw 0 score, F grade. What led me to this is what you said.
Yes.
The student knowing exactly what to do. I looked at the point. I said, wow, F grade, 0 score simply means I sat for the exams. For my name to appear, and then I'm seeing F grade, means I sat for the exam, but I did not score any point. Then I threw up a challenge. I went to my HOD. I said, sir, look at my grade, F score. Then 0 score, F grade. I said, sir, that's not my result. Please, I want to write to Maths department to provide my result. I want to see my script. Are you understanding what we are saying? At the end of the day, I wrote. To cut the long story short, my script was not provided. Then my HOD took it up. The matter went to Senate. And finally, this thing cost both my own HOD and the HOD of Maths department, it cost them a lot. The man had to dig deep up to the lecturer, and then before my result was discovered, I had to pay for remarking for 2 times. The first one, nothing was done. My HOD said I should rewrite again. I still paid for another remarking. And finally, now the point is, what if I was maybe exactly, I would have, maybe that particular course would have made me spend extra 1 or 2 years in higher institution. So that is the point. Students have major role to play. Once you see a lecturer that is not living up to expectation, yes, you have to be very careful of the lecturer, but do what is right. Once the lecturer knows, my dear, I don't think it's out of place to take a lecturer to court. Is it out of place? It's not out of place.
The students really know these things. And aside that, do they, okay, I told you about my experience when I had to do this, right? And then the lecturer had to like really, really come for me because in his terms, I reported him. Why would I report him? Do you understand? So the students might also, like you said, the ones who are timid now would want to withdraw, you know, and just let it play out the way it wants to play out. Because sometimes it feels like their hands are tied. But then they should be told, they should be informed.
Yeah.
And that's what programs like this are for. But let's move on to our next story now.